Are you for real? Simon said as everyone stood up from their seats. Some of them walked to the gate and looked at the car. It's really a Ferrari, Walter confirmed as the blue car pulled up to the gate. Could it be that what he said is true? Someone asked. Is this really or is he really from a rich family? Said another aunt. The family members were shocked and confused. Then Yvonne said loudly to everyone, Stop, Ida. This is Brian's. They all finally understood and felt even more respect for Brian. One of them said, Like I said, it can't be this kid's car. He's just making it up. How would someone like him ever buy a... Another agreed. Yvonne's boyfriend is awesome. He's only in his 20s and he's already driving. That's right. He's handsome, knowledgeable, and rich. Our family will really benefit from him marrying Yvonne, said his wife. Everyone, this is my... Would you like to come and take a look? Brian politely asked Yvonne's family. Margaret, Yvonne, Walter, and Elizabeth walked together out of the fancy iron gate and over to the car. Brian's driver got out of the car and handed the key to him. I ordered this car a year ago and it was delivered 6 months ago. I paid a total of $500,000. During the manufacturing process, I made a lot of specific requests, resulting in the car you see before you. I've asked about my car, and they told me that because of its specifications, it's in the top 30% of the vehicles sold by the entire company. Brian stood up and presented his beloved car to Margaret and the others. Then he waved the key in his hand and said, I'll show you now. Brian pressed the key and watched in satisfaction as the two sides of the car slowly rose. At the same time, the roof and the rear door also slowly lifted. After what seemed like a scene from a science fiction movie, the roof was hidden in the back, and the two sides of the doors remained in the air like wings. The sapphire blue was extremely beautiful. It emanated a feeling of luxury and futuristic technology, causing all of the surrounding family members to gasp in admiration. Mr. Phillips, didn't you want to try it out? Please go ahead. Brian gestured to Walter. No, he replied. You youngsters are much better drivers. I was just spouting nonsense. He was itching to have a go, but he was also afraid of the consequences if he accidentally damaged it. Yvonne, let Brian take you for a drive around Purple Dawn Lake, he continued, as he pushed his daughter toward the car. Great idea. Go on, Yvonne, get in the car, Elizabeth said, feeling excited for her daughter. Yvonne, let's go. Why aren't you getting in the car? Asked Brian. Yvonne smiled sweetly and climbed in. She didn't usually get to spend much time alone with Brian, and this was her first time sitting in a... So she was very excited. Brian was about to get into his car when he caught a glimpse of Kelly and Alex still sitting at the table in the courtyard. He called out to Alex, Hey buddy, I'm going to take a spin around Purple Dawn Lake. I hope I'll get to see your $2 million for pasture when I get back. With a parting wave to Margaret, Brian drove the toward the lake. Watching the car drive away with 4 flames coming out of the exhaust cylinders, everyone was impressed. When they returned to the courtyard, they once again began to mock and ridicule Alex. They said that Brian was the perfect boyfriend, while he was just a clown with a big mouth. Simon stared at him and said to Margaret, Grandma, how about to get someone to kick this kid out here already? Margaret turned to Kelly and said sarcastically, Didn't he say that someone was sending him a title worth $2 million? How can we afford to offend such a wealthy and noble person? The others were talking about how shameless Alex was, yelling at him from time to time and trying to get him to leave while praising Brian. Alex, maybe you should just leave, Kelly whispered to him. She believed that he had made up the story about his new car because he was angry. I'm not lying. Someone will bring me the car, he replied with a bland expression. Kelly sighed softly and was quiet. Sharon glared at Alex and said, Yes, of course we believe that someone's going to send you a luxury. Don't you think you've embarrassed Kelly enough for one day? Why don't you shut up or leave? Half an hour later, more headlights appeared. Kelly's uncle stood up from his seat and looked at the door. He saw a big vehicle with flashing blue and white lights. "It looks like an armored security vehicle," he told the others. "Really?" someone replied. "This truck is huge, much larger than the security vehicles at the bank." Everyone was wondering what a security vehicle was doing there. The Purple Dawn Lake was a long way from the city, and the armored vehicles were usually used to carry money and other things of extreme value within the city. They were all thinking, "It's so remote here, and it's not a major road. Strange, an armored truck should show up here." What surprised them even more was that the security vehicle was heading directly toward their villa. When it stopped in front of the iron gate, two heavily armed men jumped down from the cab. In their hands, they were holding. They stood on either side of the truck, guarding it. Watching from the courtyard, the Phillips family were terrified. They thought that someone in the family must have done something criminal. As the head of the family, Margaret opened the iron gate and walked out. The rest of the family hid behind her, watching the men. Then everyone noticed a blanket pulling up behind the security truck. The stopped and the doors opened. Two men and a woman stepped out and walked quickly toward the courtyard. "What's going on?" everyone wondered. Judging from their appearances, these are clearly respectable people. Are they here to visit the family? "Hello, may I ask who you are?" Margaret quickly went up to greet them, but she didn't recognize any of them. She asked them, "Is this security vehicle something to do with you?" "Hello," said one of the men as he shook hands with Margaret. He didn't introduce himself or his companions or pay her much attention. He was clearly looking for someone in the crowd. Family members looked at each other confused. "Mr. Sharp, it's an honor to meet you. Hello," Simon said as he stepped forward. He often walked around the New York Auto Exhibition Center, and he recognized the manager, Harold Sharp. He extended his hand toward Harold, who shook it distractedly, but he still seemed to be searching the crowd. "Grandma, this is Mr. Sharp. He's the manager of New York Auto Exhibition Center," Simon explained to Margaret. 80% of New York's luxury cars are sold by Harold Sharp. In the upper echelons of New York society, he's definitely one of the people that everyone wants to get to know. Everyone was interested in meeting Mr. Sharp, but none of them dared to disturb him, as it was clear from his sharp gaze that he was searching for someone. The woman who accompanied Harold whispered something to him. "Wait a moment," he said to his companions. Then he looked at the family and said loudly, "Mr. Ambrose, are you here?" Margaret said to him, "Mr. Ambrose? Mr. Sharp, you're mistaken. This is a family gathering of the Phillips family. There's no one here called Mr. Ambrose." Everyone nodded in agreement. They didn't even think about Alex, because he could clearly not have any involvement with anyone as impressive as these strangers. The family members shut the iron gate so that Mr. Sharp couldn't see into the courtyard. He shouted twice, but no one responded. "Strange, I'll check that this is definitely the correct address," he said as he took out his phone and pressed the call button. He put the phone to his ear, looking a little anxious. His companions understood that he was calling Mr. Ambrose and remained silent. As he waited, he heard the sound of a phone's ringtone coming from the garden. He was surprised as he recognized it as a cheap model. The family members in the courtyard heard Alex's phone ringing and cursed him again. They didn't for a moment think it was Mr. Sharp calling him. However, Mr. Sharp and his companions were happy when they heard the phone ringing, and they followed the sound to the courtyard. Yvonne's family was astonished as they realized what was happening. They followed the strangers into the courtyard. Harold had an expression of pure joy when he recognized Alex sitting at the table. When he had met him at the New York Auto Exhibition Center, and Alex had transferred over $1 million to the car shop's account, he had made a conscious effort to etch Alex's appearance into his mind so that he would recognize him in the future. "Mr. Ambrose," he said as he quickly walked over to Alex. His companions followed. Surprised, Kelly helped Alex stand up, and they both turned around. When the family members looked at Alex again, understanding slowly started to dawn on them. they realized that he wasn't the lowlife that they thought he was. "Hello, Mr. Ambrose." Mr. Sharp smiled ingratiatingly as he held Alex's hand with both of his own. He introduced him to one of his companions. "This is Mr. Catullo, the president of the Ferrari. He's come to America specifically to meet you." "Hello," Alex said as he looked at the man. Catullo took the initiative to reach out, and they shook hands. He said something in Italian with a smile on his face. Alex assumed that he was thanking him for his trust and expressing his desire to have the opportunity to serve him again. Watching the scene, almost everyone in the Phillips family was shocked. They were dumbstruck as what they were seeing went completely against their knowledge of Alex. They were all thinking, is Alex really the Mr. Ambrose that this gentleman is looking for? Did this guy really buy a... And has Fervision's CEO really come to America personally to deliver a car for him? Are we crazy, or is that the world has gone crazy? Kelly was also extremely shocked. She looked at Alex with her eyes wide open and her mind went blank. She suddenly felt that she didn't know him at all. The true Alex was a mystery to her. "You're too kind." Alex smiled humbly and nodded toward Mr. Catullo. Then he looked at Harold and asked, "Have you brought my car?" "It's here. It's right outside. Mr. Ambrose, please," Harold replied as gestured toward the gate. The family all stepped back to make way for Alex to walk past them toward the gate. "Mr. Ambrose, your car is right here. After finding out that Mr. Catullo is planning to deliver it to you personally, product managers in New York also wanted to ensure that it would reach you safely. Mr. Catullo hired an armored truck to transport your car to ensure that it didn't get damaged." "Thank you." Alex smiled at Mr. Catullo. "Mr. Ambrose, I'll get the car down for you now," Harold said, and he signaled to two heavily armed men who were standing beside the armored transport vehicle. The two men, still carrying their machine, went to the back of the truck and used their keys to open the lock. They opened the door and lowered a ramp, allowing Harold to slowly drive out the car that was stored inside. It was a white... Just its appearance and shape alone were more stunning than Brian's. Harold stepped out of the car saying, "Mr. Ambrose, this is the car you ordered. It's also the most valuable car ever sold by... Let me introduce this car to you." He pressed the car's key fob and all the lights lit up. Some were blue and some were gold. The car door and trunk started moving at the same time. It didn't look like a car, but a futuristic transformer. Harold told Alex, "Your car was designed by the top 10 designers and engineers in our company. It's different from any other car we've ever manufactured in the past. It really is unique. According to your specifications, all the parts and components of this car are of the highest quality in the industry. For the tires, for example, we communicated with the executives of Michelin and had them use only the very best cutting-edge technology." He continued, "Of course, this car of yours is not just a simple car. It can drive up to a depth of 6 feet underwater without emitting a drop of water, whilst maintaining the same functionality as it has on land. There's also every possibility that you could fly across the Hudson River in it. For most cars, this would be extremely challenging. But because of the unique body design of this car, it should be possible. It has the highest level safety features available across the world, on par with those of the president's cars," he said proudly. "This car incorporates the most advanced technologies in the world. For instance, the air circulation, surround sound technology, ergonomic seats, bulletproof glass." Harold continued to introduce the car to Alex. Even though he had come into contact with so many luxury cars, he still couldn't help but be obsessed with this car. Listening to Harold's introduction, the Phillips family were captivated. Their gazes never left the luxurious that was parked in front of them. They felt honored just to have this amazing car parked by their villa. Harold continued, "Mr. Ambrose, this car has the most advanced artificial intelligence technology. Please enter your fingerprints on the car keys, and you will officially become its exclusive owner. He respectfully handed the car keys to Alex, and under his guidance, Alex recorded his fingerprints. The family cheered. They had quickly forgotten how badly they had previously treated Alex when they thought he was a nobody. Now, in their eyes, he was the owner of the luxurious car and such an important person that even the president of the empire treated him with respect. Now, they looked up to him. Kelly was also congratulating Alex. There was no shock in her eyes, only pride. She hadn't made a mistake, and now she knew that she had chosen a man who could give her a life of luxury. He possessed so much wealth, yet he was so calm and humble. "Mr. Sharp, can this car record other people's fingerprints?" Alex asked. "No, this is your exclusive car and we can only record your fingerprints," Harold said apologetically. "I assume that you want to allow others to drive your car? That's no problem. It has also been built into the design. Although others can't record their fingerprints, they can use the voice recognition. The technology is slightly less advanced than the fingerprint security, but as long as they have the car keys, they will be able to drive this car." "Good," Alex nodded in satisfaction. He held Kelly's hand and said to Harold, "Please help me record her voice now." Kelly was a little dazed. Alex was giving her the right to drive his $2 million sports car. Her family members were also moved. It was at this moment that they realized what an outstanding boyfriend Kelly had found. "Of course," Harold agreed. He went to Kelly, raised a small microphone toward her and said, "Miss, I need to record a sample of your voice. Please say a few words. Anything that comes into your head." She looked at Alex, who was also looking at her. She realized that Alex was so handsome that she couldn't help but fall in love with him. She mumbled, "Alex is my perfect man. He's honest, dignified, and generous." Alex's expression froze and he turned his face away. "Miss, please say a few more words. We need to record a little more," said Harold as he looked at the apparatus to record Kelly's voice. Looking at Alex, Kelly asked him with a voice full of emotion, "Alex, I like you. Do you want to be with me?" Alex didn't respond. Harold said happily, "All right, your voice has been recorded. From now on, as long as you have keys to this car on you, you'll be able to drive it." Then he turned to Alex and said, "Mr. Ambrose, do you want to try it out now?" "Okay," Alex responded. He lowered his body and sat in the driver's seat of the Ferrari. He glanced at Kelly and asked, "Do you want to try it with me?" Kelly smiled sweetly and climbed into the passenger seat. Alex started the car, and just from the sound of the engine, everyone could tell it was a very high-end car. As Alex slowly drove the car away, the 4 exhaust cylinders at the back threw out 4 flames. This was much more impressive than Brian's car earlier, and everyone exclaimed in admiration. By the time the flames had disappeared, the was already 100 yards away. The family had now accepted the fact that Alex was wealthy. They felt ashamed when they remembered how they had mocked him, and if they could turn back the clock to when they first met him, they would have treated him with far more respect. Although Margaret looked calm, inside she was full of anxiety. She couldn't stop thinking that perhaps she should admit her mistakes to her granddaughter and apologize to Alex. Alex drove the car to Purple Dawn Lake. He turned to Kelly and asked, "How are you feeling?" He opened the roof of the car, letting in a gentle breeze. It all felt so perfect. "Wonderful," replied Kelly as her hair danced in the wind. "I had no idea that you were so rich. Now, can you tell me who you really are?" "I imagine that you already know that there aren't too many people in America with the surname Ambrose who can afford to buy a Alex replied. "You're from the world-famous Ambrose family?" Kelly asked with a slightly trembling voice. Indeed, just as Alex said, she knew that there was only one person in America named Ambrose who could afford to spend $2 million on a car. She asked, Do Do I still have a chance with you? Kelly started to feel anxious. She knew that there was no way that the Phillips family could match the Ambrose family. Alex thought carefully. He said, "You must be prepared for my family to object to me being with you, just as your family previously objected to you being with me. In fact, the strength of my family's objection will be even greater." He was being dishonest. The fact was that Alex would marry whoever he wanted, and they would become part of the Ambrose family. The truth was that he already had Debbie in his heart. He didn't want to be with anyone else. Alex coming from the Ambrose family changed everything. Within important families, marriage was all about status, and Kelly knew that his family would never accept him marrying someone like her from a small New York family. After driving around Purple Dawn Lake for a while, Alex turned the car around, and they headed back toward the villa. When they were still 200 yards away, they saw Brian slowly approaching the gate of the villa in his own Ferrari. A sinister smile appeared on Alex's face. As Brian drove slowly toward the villa, he saw that the whole of the Phillips family appeared to be standing at the entrance waiting for him. He smiled to himself smugly as he opened the car door. He was about to climb out of the car when a dazzling beam of light blinded him, followed by a loud bang, causing the car to shake violently. When Brian opened his eyes, he saw that the car door had been crushed. He was livid that his $500,000 Ferrari had been damaged. He jumped out of the car to find out who had hit him, only to discover that the car that hit him was not only another Ferrari, but a much more expensive one than his own. The other reversed slowly into Brian's car, and only then did Brian realize that the person driving the other car was Alex. "Does he have a gay?" Brian asked himself in complete shock. Suddenly, Brian heard a roaring sound. Alex had turned his car around and let the 4 exhaust cylinders spray fire at Brian's car. First at the car's rear, then at the car's side, and then at the front of the car. No matter how loudly Brian and Yvonne shouted and pleaded, Alex refused to stop. By the time Alex had finished with Brian's car, it was unrecognizable. Black and crushed, it looks like a pile of scrap metal. As Alex and Kelly climbed out of their car, Brian rushed over. He was boiling with rage and looking like he wanted to kill Alex. Harold quickly ordered the 2 security guards to intervene. They rushed over, pointing their machine at Brian and shouting, "Don't move!" Brian was so scared that he immediately backed off, covering his head with his hands, afraid of being shot. Alex turned to Harold and said, "Mr. Sharp, please talk to the manager at the First Republic Bank. Ask him to compensate Brian for his car." "Of course," he replied. He looked at Brian and said, "Sir, please calm down. I'm the manager of the New York Auto Exhibition Center, and this is Mr. Catullo, the president of... We will ensure that you are compensated for your loss." Brian's mind was in complete disarray. He thought to himself, "Mr. Sharp of the New York Auto Exhibition Center? Mr. Catullo, the president of... Why are they here? And why are they taking orders from Alex?" The Phillips family all gathered round Alex. They were trying to ingratiate themselves to him, but he completely ignored them. He said loudly to Kelly, "I know that your family doesn't want me here." A wave of denials emanated from various members of the Phillips family, but again, Alex ignored them. He continued, "For this reason, I think it's better if I just leave." "Have a good life." Alex drove his expensive along the road, leaving all the other cars far behind him. He returned to the Washington Heights and parked in front of the villa before going inside and falling asleep. The next day, Alex got up early and made himself some breakfast. When he walked out of the villa, he was surprised to see Karen Young standing at his door. He hadn't seen her for a long time, but she was still as beautiful as he remembered. She hesitantly paced back and forth in front of the door, muttering to herself. When she saw Alex, she was shocked and immediately stopped moving. "What are you doing here?" Alex asked indifferently. He had no intention of inviting her in. He hated Karen. The last time he had seen her, she had hated him. And if Zara and the others hadn't found him, he would have been in a lot of trouble. Karen stuttered, unable to speak. She had known that Alex would be angry after what had happened, so she hadn't dared look for him. She had hoped that his anger might have subsided by now, so she had to start to plan how to get his attention again. Recently, Robert Miller had mentioned that it was Alex who had bought the most expensive villa in the Washington Heights. The villa had been sold for $40 million. If Alex could afford to buy it, then how much money did he have? Karen had arrived at the villa early in the morning, and she had found a cool parked outside it. She had been so excited that she almost fainted. She had been practicing what to say to Alex when he had stepped out the door. The moment she had seen him, she had forgotten what she'd planned to say. "Well, if you have nothing to say, then please don't loiter in front of my house," Alex said, turning to walk away. "Alex, I wanted to apologize to you," she said, walking over to him. "I'm sorry. I was in the wrong, and I shouldn't have come to you." Karen was a smart woman. Alex already knew that she had him, so there was no point in denying it. If she lied again, he would be disgusted with her. So it was better if she admitted it. "Fine, you've apologized. You can go now," Alex said, his attitude softening a bit. Karen had admitted to her mistakes, which redeemed her a little in his eyes. "Alex," Karen said, raising her head and looking at him with a serious expression, "when I told you, it was because I was forced to." "So someone was pointing a gun at your head and forcing you to hurt me?" he asked sarcastically. "No, Alex, please listen," she said, shaking her head. "I asked you to pretend to be my boyfriend to make Robert give up on me. I thought Robert would be angry after he found me on a date with you. I never expected him to be even more determined to be with me, and I panicked. I thought that if I took things further, he wouldn't be able to accept it, and he'd leave me alone." "So you decided to me?" Alex asked in a flat tone. Karen lowered her head and nodded. "Please don't be angry," she said. "I know it was stupid, but I was worried that if you'd known my intentions, then you wouldn't have agreed to the plan. All I wanted was for Robert to give up on me, and I didn't think it through properly, so I followed your line." She sighed. "But don't worry, nothing happened. I just wanted to act out a sexy scene with you to make it look good. When Zara and Robert arrived, I was happy because I thought it had worked. But I didn't consider your feelings. It was only when I saw how upset you looked that I realized I'd done the wrong thing." After hearing Karen's explanation, Alex didn't hate her as much. She hadn't planned to trick him. She just hadn't considered the consequences of her plan. "I've been feeling so guilty," she said. "You're such a good man, and regardless of what I meant, I didn't ask for your permission. I just used you to achieve my goal, and that was a mistake and disrespectful to you." She hung her head. "I came to ask for your forgiveness. I'm sorry." "It's fine," he said, believing that she was sincere. "It's not that serious. I forgive you. So now you can go." "No, Alex, you're being far too lenient," she said. "How can I forgive myself so easily? You can hit me if it'll help." She was happy to see that his attitude toward her had softened, and she couldn't just leave now. She was determined to have him. "There's really no need for that," he said. "You've explained what happened, and I understand that you hadn't thought it through. Besides, I had promised to help you get rid of Robert, and that's what you were doing. It's fine, so you should leave." "Thank you, Alex," she thanked him profusely. "You've been so kind." She paused and then said, "Alex, about your promise." "Yes, what about it?" Alex asked, feeling like he had dug a hole for himself. "Well, I thought that my sexy scene with you would definitely make Robert give up on me, but it didn't. He just got more persistent. His visits have become more and more frequent, and he even turned up at my house trying to use my parents to get to me." He said, looking at her. What do you want me to do? If you want, I can reveal my identity and see if he gives up once he knows what he'd be facing. After that, we can just break up. No, you don't want to reveal your identity, she said, dismissing his idea with a wave of her hand. You're still a student, and it would cause a lot of trouble for you. Don't do that. If Alex revealed his identity, then she would have a lot of competition for him. Her cousin Zara would be the first to try to snatch him up. Let's just go back to the way it was before when you pretended to be my boyfriend. Isn't that pointless? He asked. How could it not work? She asked with a faint smile. Robert isn't an idiot. If he believes that we've been together for a long time and that we're really in love, then he'll know it's impossible to break us up. He'll have to leave me alone then. Okay, Alex agreed with a heavy heart. Karen smiled beautifully as she looked at the fancy villa and the f***ing sports car outside. Alex, this place is beautiful, and the looks really cool. I've never been in one of those before. If you like it that much, then why don't you try sitting inside it? Alex suggested. Since Karen had expressed an interest, he felt it would be mean to not let her see inside. Really? She asked, her eyes shining with excitement. I'd really like to know how it feels to sit in a... She tried to open the car door, but no matter how hard she tried, it didn't budge. She was afraid that she would break something, so she awkwardly smiled at Alex and asked, Why won't the door open? Because I haven't unlocked it yet, he said, pulling out the remote. He pressed a button and the doors opened. Wow, Karen sighed in appreciation and got inside. She wanted to take out her cell phone and snap some photos of herself sitting in the... But she was worried about looking bad in front of Alex. She waved at him and said, Alex, you should get in too. Okay, he agreed, noticing how at home Karen looked sitting in his car. I called in sick to come here, she told him. If my manager finds out that I'm not really sick, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Could you take me to the Wanda Plaza to buy some clothes? I'm usually too busy to shop, and I don't have anyone to take me. Okay, Alex said. He didn't feel he could refuse when she asked so nicely. Put your seatbelt on and we'll go. He drove the Phantom through the city streets, speeding by the other cars on the road. The other driver stayed out of his way, wanting to avoid any accidents. Karen relaxed into the comfortable seat. She leaned her elbow against the window and looked at the passing scenery. This was exhilarating, and she felt like someone important. They arrived at Wanda Plaza within half an hour. Vehicles were not supposed to park on the square, but when the security chief saw he allowed them to pass. Would attract more people to the square. Alex parked the car and they got out. Everyone was shocked when they saw how he was dressed. How could someone wearing such poor clothes be driving a... That was far too unlikely. But the crowd parted, creating a path for Alex and Karen to pass through. They walked into the mall and Karen bought several outfits, all of which Alex paid for. It was 11 a.m. when they finished shopping, and Karen persuaded Alex to take her for lunch. I've been here before, she said as they walked into a restaurant. The food is delicious. Karen! Just as they walked inside, a woman's voice called out. Karen's heart sank as she looked over and saw her mother staring at her with an angry expression. Her father, Zara, and Robert were sitting next to her. Get over here, Karen's mother Allison shouted as she slapped her hand down on the table. Karen was so startled that she jumped. Alex, Karen said, glancing timidly at him. Those are my parents. You can leave if you want to. He simply smiled and calmly walked over with her to the table. Alex knew that if he left, Karen would be in even more trouble. And since he had already promised to help her get rid of Robert, this seemed like a good opportunity to achieve that. Her parents glared at them as they approached. Why aren't you at work? Allison demanded anxiously, pulling Karen to stand beside her. What are you doing here? I called in sick, Karen whispered. Her parents had always been very strict, and even now, she was afraid to stand up to them. What? Allison asked, feeling anxious and angry. Her daughter should get back to work. Didn't you tell me that your bank is undergoing some personnel changes and that you have a good chance of being promoted? And weren't you in line for a huge bonus? So why are you pulling a stunt like this? Do you care so little about your prospects? You're almost 30 years old, her father Albert said with a frown. You can't keep relying on me and your mom. He looked at Karen and pointed at Alex. You lied to your boss and to your family just to date this kid? Is it worth it? Karen lowered her head as her parents scolded her. When her father spoke about Alex, she sneaked a glance at him, afraid that he would get angry. Look at him. What did I do to deserve a daughter like you? Albert raised his hand to speak with him to Karen, but Zara and Robert stopped him. Mr. and Mrs. Young, don't be angry, Robert said, trying to smooth things over. Karen hasn't been caught, so there won't be any problems with her promotion or her bonus. Not this time, Albert said, looking at Alex. But if she doesn't break off contact with this kid, she'll definitely end up in trouble. At some point, her luck will run out and her boss will catch her. Alex was speechless. He hadn't even done anything. Karen's father was a weirdo. Karen just stood there, sniffling pitifully and feeling wronged. Karen, you can't blame your parents, Robert said, standing and walking toward her. They're just looking out for you. He put his hand on her shoulder to comfort her. Get lost, Karen yelled, violently pushing him away and glaring at him. Why are you eating with my parents? I already told you there's nothing between us, and I was very clear that there is no way we will ever be together. How dare you, Allison said. Why shouldn't Robert eat with us? If it's so impossible for you to be with Robert, then who do you plan on dating? Albert knew how important Robert was. His family was very powerful, and Karen was lucky to have caught his eye. Robert was the best choice for her, and yet his daughter had rejected him. She knew that her parents had urged her to be with Robert because of his wealth, but they didn't know that Robert was nothing compared to the young man they were insulting. She had made the right choice, so she wasn't going to back down. No matter how much her parents hated Alex right now, she was going to marry him. Then, when his identity was made known, they would know how stupid they had been and would understand why she was doing this. I can make my own decisions, she said stubbornly. She glared at Robert and said, I don't like you, so get lost. Stay away from me and my family. Karen's behavior stunned everyone present. Robert knew that Karen didn't like him, so he had intentionally chosen to use her parents to get closer to her. In the beginning, it had worked quite well, but now it seemed that her parents were unable to control her. Karen, don't be like this, he said. You're too emotional right now, so try to calm down. I didn't even know you'd be here. I just came to have lunch with your parents. It's not about you. Yes, Karen, Zara chimed in. I came with Robert, so I know he's not stalking you. I don't care if you're stalking me or not, Karen said firmly to Robert. I want you to get out of my sight and never bother me again. Robert, Albert, and Allison were stunned. Why was Karen behaving like this? What had this boy done to her to make her act this way? Karen, are you really going to leave me for this? Robert asked. He knew that this was all because of Alex, and Robert was a rich man. So how could he accept losing out to a poor kid? He pointed at Alex and asked Karen, how can he compare to me? I could buy you a house downtown. I could drape you in diamonds. Can he do these things? My family is old and powerful. What about his? In every single way, I am superior. So how can he possibly compete with me? Don't be impulsive, he continued. Marriage is not a simple matter. He can't even give you the life you deserve, and he can't protect you. Don't be silly. Listen to me. If you come back to me, I'll treat you well. He reached out to touch her shoulder. Get lost, Karen said. It's none of your business who I choose to marry. She knew Robert wasn't listening to her, so she gave up. Come on, Alex, let's go. She took his hand and turned to leave. Stop, Allison ordered. She was furious with her daughter. Don't you dare speak to us like that. The older you are, the worse your behavior becomes. Don't even think of leaving. Allison and Zara pulled Karen back. Young man, you must have some good tricks up your sleeves, Allison said, glaring at Alex. You've certainly fooled my daughter. Her eyes narrowed as she realized that Alex was the key to solving this problem. Alex grunted speechlessly. What had he done to have Karen's mother treat him like this? Hey, do you really expect to marry my daughter? Allison demanded. In your dreams. She had disliked Alex from the moment she had first laid eyes on him. You really think you're good enough for my daughter? Albert asked angrily, coming to stand in front of him. Well, tell us then, why should we let you marry her? He spat in Alex's face. Why should I answer to you? Alex asked. He was the heir of the powerful Ambrose family. So what right did these people have to question him? Who did they think they were? Hey, listen to this kid, Albert said with dissatisfaction. And he thinks he can marry my daughter with that attitude. Well, think again. Uncle Albert, Zara said, he can't answer you because he's a... But if he won't tell you, I will. I go to the same school as him. She wasn't sure why her cousin no longer cared about Robert, but she knew that she couldn't let Karen miss out on such a rich man. At school, he's well known for being poor, she explained. He wears the same few items of clothing all the time. Everyone bullies him and he doesn't dare to fight back. He works in a convenience store and in the school cafeteria. And once he even asked people for money in front of a restaurant. He was asking for money? Allison asked, shocked. If Karen stayed with him, it would be a disgrace. Get out, she said, pushing at Alex. Stay away from my daughter. As Karen's parents were telling you now, we won't allow you to date her, Albert warned him. So stop dreaming about marrying her. Do you hear me? He pointed at Alex and said, Do not harass my daughter again. Do you understand? Say what you like, but don't point your finger at me, Alex said. Watch your temper, Albert said, eager to make his point. I'll point at you if I like. He poked his finger into Alex's chest and added, Don't go anywhere near my daughter again. Alex could no longer swallow his anger. Don't you dare push my husband, Allison yelled, raising her hand to Alex's face. But Karen jumped in front of him, hugging him tightly, and Allison's hand looked off the back of Karen's head. Alex, are you okay? Karen asked, raising her head to look at him. Alex felt a little touched. She was the one who had been hit, and yet she was asking about him. Allison sighed deeply. You're really going to make us angry. They had attracted a large crowd who were eagerly watching them and commenting on this strange family. This man begs for money, and he has the nerve to seduce my daughter, Allison said to the crowd. My daughter has never argued with us before. See how she's talking to us now? Such a useless boy, someone stuttered. You have to get rid of him, someone else said. He's just with her for the money. Everyone stared at Alex as Allison pointed at him. Alex's phone rang. It was Robert Miller, the manager at First Republic Bank. Karen let go of him, and he answered the call. Hello, Mr. Miller, he said. Is this about the compensation for the... He thought Robert might be calling to ask about the compensation for wrecking Brian Foster's car. No, I'm taking care of it, don't worry, Robert said respectfully. I'm calling you to let you know that I've found 2 apartment buildings for you to look at. The location is desirable and the properties are in good condition. I've collected all the information for you. Apartment buildings? Alex asked, stunned. What do you mean? I don't understand. Why was Robert helping him find apartment buildings? You don't know? Robert asked, surprised. Let me explain. When Sam Woodsworth asked me to help you with the final payment for their... He told me to look for apartment buildings in New York City. He said that you wanted to invest in New York real estate. Oh, I see. Alex understood. Sam had been helping him to manage his business, and he had suggested that Alex find some projects and learn from experience. After all, he would be taking over a large part of his family's business in the future. He glanced at Karen's family, who was glaring at him, and he knew they were listening intently. Okay, well, in that case, can I trouble you to bring the documents to the restaurant at the Palace Hotel in Wanda Plaza? Alex asked politely and then ended the call. That was Mr. Miller? Karen asked, a little worried. Mr. Miller thought she was sick. If he came to the hotel, he would see her there and know that she had lied. Alex nodded. Then I have to go, she said. Don't let him see me. She prepared to leave. Where do you think you're going? Allison asked, pulling her back. I don't know what's going on here, but this matter must be resolved today. Mom, Mr. Miller is coming, Karen said anxiously. You have to let me go. Karen, with the way you've been behaving lately, do you really think I'll believe you? Allison asked, looking at her. Then she glanced at Alex. He knows your manager? Who would believe that he can afford an apartment building? Maybe I'm very good at acting, Alex suggested. This family left him speechless. Karen, stop causing trouble, Zara said, moving to stand in front of her. They had agreed to use Alex to provoke Robert. But now Karen seemed to have changed the plan. If Karen continued like this, then she would lose Robert for good. Behave yourself, Zara said. I'm sure that if you apologize to Robert, then he'll forgive you. She tried her best to smooth things over. Don't get involved, Zara, Karen said, extremely unhappy with her cousin for constantly ruining her plans. I love Alex, not Robert. Zara had no idea what was wrong with her cousin. It was all Alex's fault. Alex, Zara said angrily, stalking over to him. How did you do it? Have you hypnotized my cousin? Do you think you're good enough for Karen? Don't you care about her future? Promise me right now that you will end your relationship with her. She had never had a problem ordering Alex around. Usually Alex would let Zara win, but this time he couldn't do it. With Karen's parents treating him so badly, he had no intention of giving in to them. More importantly, he had promised to help Karen get rid of Robert. And if he gave in now, all their efforts would be for nothing. Karen didn't like Robert, and Alex wasn't going to abandon her to him. He turned a deaf ear to Zara's words. Stupid Oz, are you deaf? Zara shouted at him. She frowned and raised her hand to slap his face. She had slapped him in the past, and he hadn't fought back. But this time, Alex grabbed her hand. Don't even think about it, Alex said with dissatisfaction. Let go, you... Zara hadn't expected him to grab her. She took her hand furiously, but she couldn't dislodge him. She was so angry that she raised her other hand to slap him, but he caught it too. Let go, she yelled, both embarrassed and angry. She glared at him with a cold expression. I'll let you go as soon as you promise not to hit me again, he said seriously. Who the hell do you think you are? Zara asked, refusing to give in. Help, she screamed. This guy's molesting me. I need... While Alex was distracted, she bit his hand. Alex yelped and let go. A circle of teeth marks had appeared on his palm where she had bitten him, and the wound was bleeding profusely. Zara proudly stood in front of him, looking at his hand. Did you enjoy my bite? She taunted him. It would be better if you'd bitten him to death, Allison said in a mocking tone. Karen rushed to Alex's side and examined his wound with a pained expression. That's Mr. Miller, Zara said, her smile fading away as she saw Robert walk into the restaurant. What? Where? Oh no, it really is him, Allison exclaimed in shock. The whole family began to panic, as they all understood how much trouble Karen would be in if she were caught lying about being sick. Karen, why are you just standing there? Allison said. Hurry up and hide. Your manager is here. There's no need for her to hide, Alex said lightly. But Karen wasn't listening to her mother anyway. No need to hide, Allison scolded him angrily. My daughter could lose out on her promotion. Not that you care, she scowled. Karen, do you see what kind of person he is? Don't just stand there. Hide. It's too late, Zara said with her eyes wide. Mr. Miller is coming this way. Mr. Ambrose, Robert said as he walked over, surprised to see Karen there. Miss Young, didn't you call in sick this morning? Having been caught, Karen didn't know how to defend herself. She simply lowered her head and stood silently beside Alex. Mr. Miller, I'm Karen's mother, Allison said. Karen was recovering at home until I dragged her out to do some shopping. It wasn't her idea, and she's still not well. Yes, Karen was really sick last night, Albert added. She had a cold, and then she vomited, and she had a fever. We're actually just back from the hospital with her, Zara said. Everyone made excuses for Karen. Oh, Robert said, raising an eyebrow. What a supportive family. So Karen is sick, and your whole family took her to the hospital, and then you all decided to go shopping. So which hospital did you take her to? They all looked at each other, not sure what to say. Then they all opened their mouths and spoke at the same time. New York General Hospital, the Western Hospital, the Northern Infirmary, Eastside General. They all looked at each other in annoyance. Why couldn't they get their story straight? Amazing, Robert said with a mocking smile. She just has a cold and yet she needed to visit 4 separate hospitals? Well, Mr. Miller, you see, Allison said, trying to recover from their mistake. No need to explain. I already know what's going on here, Robert said, refusing to listen to her excuses. Allison's heart sank, and everyone else looked worried. Karen had thrown away her chance for a promotion. Mr. Miller? Alex said. Yes? Robert asked, his attitude immediately improving. I needed some company, and I asked Miss Young to come for a stroll around the city, Alex said politely. I apologize. I hadn't realized this would violate your rules. Oh? Robert was shocked. He wasn't sure what Alex meant. Karen had been standing beside Alex the whole time and hadn't spoken up. Well, if that's the case, then I'm sure this was just a misunderstanding, Robert said, smiling awkwardly. He looked over at Karen and asked, Miss Young, are you feeling better? I'm happy to see you taking such good care of our client. I hope he'll continue to work hard, and I'm sure you have a bright future. Everyone gaped in shock. They didn't understand what was going on. They were all stunned. What was this all about? Alex, that loser, had explained it all away with just a few sentences. Why was Mr. Miller being so deferential to a poor student from Preston University? Mr. Ambrose, please take a seat, Robert said. I have some details on those 2 apartment buildings I mentioned. Why don't you take a look? According to my estimates, they should cost around $125 million. Karen's family stared in shock. If Alex had said he wanted to buy an apartment building worth $125 million, they would have thought it was a joke. But it had been Mr. Miller who said it. As the manager at First Republic Bank, Mr. Miller wasn't joking around with Alex, and that meant that they were serious about the $125 million. Allison gasped when she thought about it. Could Alex have that much money? I don't know much about this sort of thing, Alex said, as he carefully flipped through a few pages of the information Mr. Miller has provided. He couldn't understand many of the words on the pages, so he stopped trying. Since these 2 apartment buildings are in New York, then why don't we go and take a look? Absolutely, that's a good idea, Robert said, gesturing toward the door. Alex stood up and glanced at Karen. I have some things to attend to right now, he said, so I'll have to leave you here. I'll talk to you later. He still wanted to help Karen get rid of Robert, and now that her family knew that he was rich, he believed that Robert wouldn't dare to harass her again. Okay, Karen said, smiling. She had almost forgotten that Alex was supposed to be helping her to get rid of Robert. Let's go, Alex said, and then he walked out of the restaurant with Mr. Miller. Karen, why didn't you tell us that he was so rich? Allison asked, stunned. Zara quietly followed Alex and Mr. Miller outside. No one was more shocked than she was. How could Alex, he had picked on, suddenly have so much money? It couldn't be real. Alex was now irresistible to her. Seeing Zara leave, Albert and Robert followed. Alex left the shopping mall chatting with Robert. When they reached his car, they found it surrounded. Some people were taking pictures with their phones, while others were video chatting. A few were doing live broadcasts. Mom, look, someone said, and it's the top model. There's a
And parked in Wanda Square, someone else said. I don't know much about cars, but I know this is awesome. I can't wait to see the owner of the car. He must be so cool. I don't think I'll be able to stop myself from kissing him. Alex frowned as he walked toward the car. Everyone wanted to look at and nobody was willing to let Alex pass. He had to fight to get to his car. Please move aside, he said loudly. I'm leaving. Then go, who's stopping you? A woman said, annoyed at him. Why are you yelling? Don't you have any manners? If you don't move away, how can I drive the car out of here? Alex asked, causing everyone to burst out laughing. What? You're trying to say that this yours? The woman looked at him mockingly. Then she turned her phone toward Alex. Baby, look, this guy actually said that his. Isn't that funny? If he drives this, then I fly a spaceship. This guy's insane. How could this car possibly belong to him? Someone called. Look at what he's wearing, another man said. He'd be lucky to have a bicycle, and he's claiming to have It's hilarious. He's crazy. Everyone was pointing at Alex and sneering at him. He shook his head helplessly. These people were like insects to him. How dare they speak to him like that? Whirlwind, activate. Alex shouted at the day before, he had named the car Whirlwind and set up voice commands. Yeah, he's definitely crazy, someone yelled. What are you shouting? A woman asked. What are you trying to achieve? While everyone was talking, the slowly backed away. A girl had been leaning against the car as she did a live broadcast, and she now found herself falling backwards. Rotate on the spot, Alex shouted. This time the engine started to roar as it began to spin rapidly. Everyone was scared, afraid that the car would hit them, so they ran away. Alex was left standing there, knowing that he had full control. If the car didn't respond as it should, then the company would be in a lot of trouble. Stop, he said, and the car stopped. He pressed the control and the door opened. To everyone's amazement, Alex got into the driver's seat, waited for Mr. Miller to get in, and then drove off. Zara stood at Alex, recalling every detail of her interactions with him. She closed her eyes, and tears of regret slipped down her cheeks. How had she not realized that he was so rich? Robert stood there with his mouth hanging open as he watched it disappear into the distance. Allison and Albert held hands, so excited that their bodies were trembling. Speeding through the streets, Alex and Robert soon arrived at the apartment building called Lawrence Heights. Many people rented apartments there, and it was a good source of income for someone who wanted to invest in property. While they were looking around, Robert explained the situation. This is a great location, and it's only a short distance from shopping malls, banks, and subway stations. That's true, Alex agreed. He had noticed that the area was busy. If he bought apartments in such a good neighborhood in New York, then he was certain to make a lot of money. If this place is so good, then why does the original owner want to sell? It appears that the owner made some bad investments and lost a lot of money, Robert explained. So now he urgently needs money and decided to sell these 2 apartments. Of course, the news is quite recent, and as far as I know, no one has made him an offer yet. So if you decide to buy this place, I'm confident that I can get him to lower the price a little. Alex looked around. He was quite satisfied with the 2 apartments. He looked at Robert and casually said, I'd like to buy them. You've already decided? Robert asked in shock. Alex had only glanced at the property before making his decision. They were talking about a huge amount of money. Seasoned businessmen would have spent time weighing up the pros and cons. But Alex, who was only 20 years old, had agreed just like that. Robert had never known anyone so decisive. Is there a problem? Alex asked in confusion. Money wasn't an issue for him. No, not at all, Robert said with excitement. Mr. Ambrose, I'll arrange to buy these 2 apartment buildings for you as soon as possible. I'll handle everything for you. Okay, Alex said. If you need anything, contact me or Mr. Woodsworth. He walked around the building a couple of times before they got into the car and drove away. After dropping off Robert at the First Republic Bank, Alex went to Azalea Guest House and asked Sam about the search for Debbie. Like every other time he asked, there was no new information about the couple that had taken Debbie away. Alex was depressed, but there was nothing he could do. Imagining Debbie's current situation filled him with worry and pain. His cell phone rang. It was Cathy. Alex sighed. He no longer cared about her. She sometimes called to berate him or say how happy she was after leaving him, but it didn't matter. It had nothing to do with him. Cathy called another 5 times, but he just let his phone ring out and refused to answer. Finally, he got annoyed and blocked her number. She wouldn't be calling him again. When he looked up, he thought he saw Debbie appear in front of him. But when he mumbled her name and reached out his hand to touch her, she disappeared again, leaving him at a loss. He curled into a little ball, hugging himself tightly. Despite the warm weather, he felt chilled. Finally, he fell asleep. A few hours later, he was woken by his phone ringing. Seeing it was Joe, he answered. Joe had promised to take Suzan to the night market, but he had to do some work for his course, so he wanted Alex to take her instead. Susan's planning to go with Rose, Joe said, so it's fine if I don't go, but you know how dangerous it is for 2 girls to go out alone at night. I'm a bit worried about them. Do you have time to take them? If not, I'll find someone else. I have the time, Alex said, wanting to help. But you know Rose doesn't like me. He felt a little awkward about spending time with her. Hey, what are you so worried about? Joe asked. You'd just be going shopping with them to keep them safe. I'm sure Rose won't say anything, so it's decided then. After chatting with Joe for a while, Alex ended the call. He realized that all he had to do was walk beside the 2 girls and be polite. If he didn't provoke Rose, then she wouldn't have a problem with him. He left the guest house, took a taxi, and went straight to the night market. Suzan and Rose were also on their way to the market. Joe said that Alex will meet us there, Suzan said. He wants to come with us. Him? Why did you let him come? Rose asked, unhappy at hearing Alex would be joining them. We can look after ourselves. Alex had helped her when she had broken an expensive statue at the Berkeley Hotel. He had intervened with Sam Woodsworth on her behalf, and Rose and Suzan had suspected that Alex might be rich. They had investigated him for a few days, but they hadn't been able to find a connection between him and Sam. Alex had still seemed, so they had abandoned their suspicions. Rose hated him and didn't want him following them around. Suzan, get Joe to call Alex not to bother, Rose said with a determined look. We'll go by ourselves. Rose, you know that it's dangerous for women to go out alone at night, Suzan said sincerely. There have been several incidents lately with girls being attacked, and some of them even died. Aren't you afraid? Joe asked Alex to come and protect us. What's there to be afraid of? Rose asked. The night market is full of people, so it's not like we'd really be alone. But despite Suzan's reminder, Rose did feel a little scared. Fine, let him come, she said. But let's hope we don't get into any trouble. He'd probably run away and leave us. No, I believe he's a decent guy, Suzan said, smiling. Have you forgotten that he was the one who helped you with that incident at the Berkeley Hotel? Besides, it's too late to cancel. He's already waiting for us, so just let him come. If you don't like him, just ignore him. Fine, I'll just pretend he doesn't exist, Rose said as their taxi arrived. The night market was a place where the citizens of New York came to relax and enjoy themselves. Rows of stalls were lined up neatly, offering a dizzying variety of food and assorted goods. The stalls had little signs outside advertising their contents. Multicolored lights flashed and the area bustled with activity. As soon as Rose and Suzan got out of the taxi, they were excited by the lively atmosphere and the appetizing aromas. Suzan, Rose. Just as they were about to join the crowd, Alex walked over and greeted them with a smile. Alex, you're already here, Suzan said, smiling at him. Although she didn't believe he was rich, she still had a good impression of him. He was a bit poor, but he was a nice person. And Joe considered him a brother, so Suzan had to get along with him. Rose had expected to feel disgusted by Alex, But when she saw him, she was surprised to realize that her heart was beating a little faster. She refused to greet him and simply pretended that she hadn't seen him. "Rose," Suzan began, wanting to smooth things over, but she didn't know what to say. She was sure that Alex knew why Rose was treating him so badly. "It's fine," Alex said, smiling calmly. He had expected Rose's reaction. "Let's stroll around," Suzan said, taking Rose's arm and beginning to walk. Alex followed behind. "There's a lot of great food here." As expected, Rose continued to pretend that Alex didn't exist. She dragged Suzan over to look at various things and try samples of food. Alex simply stood to the side and checked his phone or bought some snacks. Rose and Suzan strolled along the road until they came to a small, well-lit stall with a lot of people gathered around it. Rose pulled Suzan toward it. Inside were several displays with countless small and exquisite pendants. There were a variety of semi-precious stones in all sorts of different shapes. Rose and Suzan were overjoyed. They liked those small items. They each picked a few things and asked questions about them. In the end, they each chose one of the cheaper ones. "Alex, come over here," Suzan called when she saw him standing by himself outside the stall. He walked slowly to the wooden rack filled with the pendants. Rose didn't want to be so close to him. She took the pendant she had chosen and went over to pay the old lady who was running the stall. "That's $20, the old lady said, wrapping up Rose's pendant. She picked up 2 woven bracelets and gave them to Rose. "Why not take these too? They have a very special meaning." "Oh?" Rose asked, staring at her. "Give me your hand," the old lady said, taking Rose's hand and fastening one of the bracelets around her wrist. Rose looked over at Suzan, but neither of them understood what the woman meant. "Young man, give me your hand," the old lady said, looking at Alex. "Oh." Alex held out his hand, and the old lady tied the other band around Alex's wrist. "Now, these bracelets are a pair," the old lady told them. "So you two will always be connected, even if you're thousands of miles apart. Just concentrate on the bracelet, and you'll feel closer to each other." The old lady believed that Rose and Alex were a couple. Rose blushed, while Alex gaped at the woman. "That's just nonsense," Rose said, sneaking a glance at Alex, who seemed to be perfectly calm. Rose grew even more embarrassed. If Alex realized how upset she was, then he would laugh at her. Rose said nothing. She hurriedly began to untie the wristband. The old lady had tied it tight, and Rose had to struggle to undo the knot, but she finally managed it. She glared at Alex, who still stood there in silence. Then she threw the bracelet on the ground and stormed out. "Rose, wait for me," Suzan called out, rushing after her. Alex bent down and picked up the band Rose had thrown away. Then he untied his bracelet. He thought the idea was quite interesting, and once he found Debbie, he would tie the bracelet on her wrist. That way, no matter where she went, Alex would always be with her. Alex put the bracelet in his pocket and walked away from the stall. He spotted Rose and Suzan some distance ahead, and he was about to catch up with them when his phone rang. It was Russell, the manager of the boutique. Why would Russell call him? Alex was worried. Had something happened to the shop? "Mr. Ambrose, you need to come quickly." Rose's panicked voice sounded on the other end of the line. Alex frowned immediately and asked, "What's wrong?" "Your ex-girlfriend is causing a scene," Russell said anxiously. "She's forced us to close the store and she's demanding money from us. She's claiming to be the boss and is giving out orders. If we don't obey her, she says we'll be fired." Alex could hear Cathy yelling in the background. "Okay, I'll be right there," he said, ending the call. Cathy had called him several times during the afternoon, but he hadn't answered. It must have made her angry, and now she was doing this to force him to see her. Alex frowned. He had already made his position clear to Cathy, so why did she want to see him? He looked at Suzan and Rose. Since Rose was so angry, maybe it would be best to let her calm down. They weren't far from the boutique, so he should be able to run over there, deal with Cathy, and be back within an hour. Besides, there were plenty of people around, so the girls shouldn't be in too much danger. Having made his decision, Alex turned around to go to the boutique. "Hey!" someone cried out. Alex hadn't been paying attention and bumped into a man wearing a hat, sunglasses, and a khaki-colored jacket. "I'm sorry," he quickly apologized, realizing that the man was blind when he saw the white stick lying on the ground. "It's fine," the blind man said, lowering his head and acting humble. Alex went to pick up the stick, but the blind man got there first, picking it up himself and walking away, holding the stick out in front of him. Weird, Alex thought. Why is he pretending to be blind? Was he trying to provoke sympathy to get some money? Alex didn't have time to worry about it. He rushed over to the boutique. When he stepped inside, he immediately saw Cathy going crazy. She was yelling, "I'm your boss. If you don't listen to me or if you dare to throw me out, I'll fire you. Open the money drawer and give me some money. I want it." Cathy saw everyone look over at the door, so she turned around excitedly. When she saw Alex, she stopped talking and frowned. "So, you've finally come to see me." When Simon had thrown her out of the Phillips family reunion, she had hidden behind a tree to watch. She had been determined to marry into the wealthy Phillips family, but they had rejected her because of her previous relationship with Alex. Simon had mercilessly chased her out of the party and ruined her dreams of being rich, and it was all Alex's fault. So instead of leaving, she'd hidden to watch the Phillips family drive Alex away. But she hadn't expected what had happened next. Not only was Alex not driven away, but Mr. Sharp, the manager of the New York Exhibition Center, had personally delivered a to him. And it had been the most expensive ever made. Cathy had watched, covering her mouth and trying not to make a sound. When Alex had purposefully crashed the car into Brian Foster, Cathy had realized that he was no longer. No matter where his money had come from, it was an indisputable fact that Alex was extremely rich and that the Phillips family was nothing compared to him. Cathy had finally walked home from Purple Dawn Lake, her mind replaying the memory of Alex driving off. She knew that Alex cared about her more than any other girlfriend. If she tried hard, then she could win Alex back. Nothing she had done to him mattered. He'd always obeyed her, so if she apologized, she was certain he would forgive her. "I called you 5 times. Why didn't you answer?" Cathy walked in front of Alex as she asked her question in a daze. "What do you want to say?" Alex looked at her. She was acting like a lunatic. He didn't want anything to do with her anymore. "Alex, I was wrong. It was my fault before. After I split from you, I found out that I couldn't leave you. You're the only one who treats me so well without asking for anything in return. Let's start over again, okay?" she pleaded, looking into his eyes. She wasn't lying to him. After the treatment she had received from Billy and Simon Phillips, she now truly understood how good Alex had been to her. It also helped her that she now knew that he was from a wealthy family. Impossible. He didn't feel anything for her anymore, and he didn't know if she had other motives. He looked at Russell and said, "Give her $15,000. "No, I don't want your money. Believe me, I'm serious. I'll treat you well. I'm willing to be with you for the rest of your life," she said excitedly. She missed Alex, who had doted on her and treated her like she was a treasure. "Cathy, don't be silly. Take the money and leave. Don't interfere with my store's business any longer." He pressed the money into her hand. "That's not what I want." She threw the stack of bills onto the ground, grabbed his hand and held it to her cheek. "Alex, did you forget that I'm your Cathy? Don't you remember our time together? You dated me for almost a year and I didn't even let you touch my face. Now that I've let you touch me, can you forgive me? Let's start over. We'll be very happy together." She held his hand so tightly that he couldn't pull it out of her grip. "Let go! How long are you going to keep causing trouble?" He pulled his hand with all his might, causing her to stagger forward. "Why? We used to be such a great couple. You even said that you would protect me forever. Even if I made a huge mistake and hurt you, you said you wouldn't blame me and would always treat me well. She desperately wanted to save their past relationship. All right, since you want to know why, I'll tell you right now. It's because you were my first love. I didn't know what love was before we fell in love, so when we were together, I just gave it my all. I ended up in a world with only you, and I didn't ask myself if this was real love or not. After we split up, I met Debbie. When Debbie and I were together, it was so different when I was with her. She would think about me and care for me. When she wasn't there, my heart felt empty. Being with her felt like happiness. It didn't feel like a burden. So I started to ask myself if what you and I had together was really love. I think it was just me being a poor loser and wanting to feel some accomplishment. Now that I think about it, it's quite funny, but I don't think we should have any regrets. We all make mistakes when we're young. Alex reflected openly. Cathy was stunned. His words were a death sentence to her hope of rekindling their relationship. Alex would never take her back. So if I hadn't broken up with you back then, when you met Debbie and Kelly Phillips, would you have left me? She asked quietly. This was what she most wanted to know. He felt pity while he looked at her. He knew that if she had not broken up with him, he would have remained with her, even if he had met Debbie, Kelly, or any other woman who's better than Cathy. Even if he had realized that being with her had been a mistake. But if he were to tell Cathy this now, her heart would probably be in a worse state. I think so, Alex said lightly while looking at her. He chose to answer her in a way that wouldn't hurt her feelings so much. Her eyes welled up in tears. The tears started to slide down her cheek, but she didn't make a sound. She was trying her best not to fall apart in front of him. Alex wanted to walk toward her and comfort her, but it would be too easy for that to lead to something else, so he kept the pain in his heart. Cathy moved sluggishly. She didn't look at him. She turned and slowly walked away. Watching her disappear around the corner, he let out a light sigh. He thought that from that day forward, this woman, whom he had shared so many experiences with, must have finally ended her feelings for him. You guys carry on with your business. The $15,000 will be split between your bonuses for this month. Alex picked up the money off the ground, handed it to Russell, and left. Half an hour had passed by the time Alex returned to the night market. He stood at the intersection and looked at the bustling crowd. He wondered if Rose and Suzan had already left, so he took out his phone to call Suzan and ask. Rose and Suzan were still strolling through the night market. Rose was still unhappy with Alex's previous behavior. He really pissed me off. Suzan, you saw it too. He was so calm and didn't feel ashamed at all. He seems to think he's worthy of me. Have you ever seen such a shameless person? Rose asked. Rose had been saying those words over and over again all evening. Suzan was tired of hearing them. Rose, stop thinking about it so much. Alex has a quiet personality. It's not like you don't know that. Plus, he already has a girlfriend, and their relationship looks pretty good. Don't make wild guesses, Suzan said. Alex had not told anyone about Debbie's disappearance because no one would be able to help her anyway. He has a girlfriend, but he's still so shameless. He's so disgusting. No matter what Alex did, he was still a scumbag in Rose's mind. Also, didn't you say Joe asked him to come here and watch over us? Where's he now? When you go back, tell Joe that this guy has no sense of responsibility, so we should stop hanging out with him. Maybe he can't find us because we moved ahead in such a hurry, Suzan said. But she also felt that when Rose had been angry, he had run away instead of comforting her with a few nice words. Wasn't that what he did to make Rose hate him right now? Ouch! As the two girls were walking, they didn't bother to pay attention to where they were going. Rose bumped into a man who was lying on the ground. You almost knocked me over, Rose shouted anxiously. She was only a small woman, so it didn't take much to knock her over. Rose, don't you see that he's... Oh my, let's quickly help him up. Only after hearing Suzan start to explain did Rose realize that the man that she had bumped into was blind. She stopped feeling angry and followed Suzan to help the blind man stand up while handing him his walking cane. I'm sorry. Rose and Suzan hurriedly apologized to the blind man. It's fine, the blind man said while fumbling with his cane. Have you got a sore throat? Rose asked with a puzzled expression, as his voice was hoarse. She thought the man looked familiar, but his face was obscured by his wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses. I'll be going now. The blind man grasped his cane and was about to walk forward, but with so many people in the night market, he was sure to crash into someone else. Wait a moment. Rose pulled the blind man aside and looked at Suzan. How about we help him walk out of the market? Look at the crowd. It's definitely not going to be easy for him to get through all these people. I think so too. Suzan looked at the man. How did a blind man get in here? Wouldn't this be hard for you and cause trouble for the people around you? She thought. We'll go with you. Rose and Suzan each held one of his arms as they walked him out of the night market. He thanked them in a soft voice. He told them that he had come with a friend in a car that was parked by the side of the road, so they walked him to that location. The car was As the two girls watched in amazement, he mumbled that he had his friend's car keys and proceeded to unlock the doors. Ladies, please go sit in the car for a moment and rest. Thank you for walking out with me, he said politely to the pair. Fine, but I don't see your friends around. Suzan and I will be quite worried if you're here alone. Rose had been walking for so long that she was getting a little tired and wanted to rest. Suzan, let's sit down for a bit. Rose opened the back door and pulled her into the car. She saw that the blind man was still waiting outside. She said to him, You come in the car with us for a while. The blind man simply nodded at her. Suzan's phone rang. It was Alex. Hey, Suzan, where are you? Why can't I find you? He asked. Where have you been? We've been walking around the night market. Why haven't we seen you? Suzan was also a bit unhappy with Alex, and he knew that he was at fault. I'm sorry, I had a problem. Where are you guys now? I'll go look for you, he offered. Rose snatched Suzan's phone away from her. Why are you following me? We don't need you. Just go, Rose said loudly. Joe told me to watch over you two. Where are you? Don't let anything happen to you, he said. You're expecting something to happen to us, aren't you? Why would anything happen? Even if something happens to you, nothing is going to happen to us, Rose said sarcastically. I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying that if something happens... Alex tried to reason with her. Now let me tell you, even if something really did happen to me, it would be none of your business. Please don't bother me again, okay? She said. That's what you want, he sighed. You tell me, what's wrong? She asked. While Rose was on the phone with Alex, the blind man had quietly slipped into the driver's seat. Why are you... Suzan saw the blind man insert the key into the ignition. Hey, you're not blind, she exclaimed. Suzan tried her door and discovered it was locked. The blind man turned his head to look at her. You only realized it now? He said with an evil smile as he took off his hat and sunglasses. Luciel Brennan! Rose screamed loudly. The person sitting in the driver's seat turned out to be Luciel, who had previously harmed her family. What's happening? Alex's excited voice came over the phone. Ha! Luciel snatched the phone from Rose's hand and cut the call. He turned to look at the girls and gave them a sinister smile.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.